What's up, everybody? Weston back here with the Hidden Gibbon. We're continuing and hopefully getting close to finishing for the two-color cards for my top 5 cards for any commander deck of those colors. So, we today have Gruul. Gruul is an interesting one. I don't run too many Gruul decks. I do have Blanca, which is a high power 4, and I do have Wolverine, and I think that might be it for straight Gruul. I have a few Jund decks and a few Naya decks, but very few just straight Gruul. Let me know what Gruul cards you really like and that you play in the comments down below. I really enjoy hearing from everybody about what ones they jam in. But without further ado, let's get into my top 5 Gruul cards that I put into any commander deck. So, first we have Ground Assault. Ground Assault deals damage to target creature equal to the number of lands you control. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It is a good removal spell. Red struggles for certain types of removal in Commander and stuff, unless you're doing things like Chaos Warp where you remove it, or but Burn is just very kind of subpar, I have found, at least in my personal experience, that like Lightning Bolt, Shock, Lava Dart, those like the classics, Incinerate, just aren't doing the work that they need to be able to burn people out, and you have to find weird and alternative routes. Usually in green, you're going to have fight spells, and so I run Ground Assault quite a bit because it is just a very easy, cheap spell to be able to do a lot of damage to a creature. Because we're in Gruul, right? You're going to be running ramp spells if you're in green. At least you should be running ramp spells if you're in green. So by turn 4, turn 5, you might have 6, 7 lands. That's enough to kill somebody's commander. That's enough to kill somebody's like really annoying thing that they drop onto the field. And it scales with the game, right? The longer the game goes, the more lands you get out there, the more damage that you're going to do. That's something that in doing this series I kind of realized about myself, is that I run a lot of cards that scale based on how long the game has gone, right? Something that is low to the ground in the early game. So if somebody drops a Llanowar Elves, an Esper Sentinel, this should have enough to be able to ping them to death. And then it scales into those big bombs. If somebody plays like Earthquake Dragon, maybe you do have 14 wins out there, but who knows? But yeah, Ground Assault, very simple, very straightforward. Also, an extremely cheap card. You can pick up a billion of these things for like a nickel. So yeah, overall, I would say this is... I throw this in pretty much any deck, so that's running Gruul colors. With the exception of Blanca, because that one's hyper-tuned, right? That one's borderline bracket 5. Next, we have Fires of Yavimaya. Fires of Yavimaya is an enchantment for 1 generic, a red and a green, has some Kavu on there, and it says creatures you control have haste and sacrifice Fires of Yavimaya. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So I like this. There are a lot of cards that do this. There's lots of cards that give haste, right? There's the symmetrical ones like Concordant Crossroads, Mass Hysteria, and then there's ones where your creatures get haste. I can't remember what the name of the red one is from Lord of the Rings, but I like Fires of Yavimaya because it comes with, I'm going to call it like a last resort button. Where you can sacrifice it to give target creature +2/+2 until end of turn. And that does not seem like a lot, but it has actually, 1, saved me before, saved one of my creatures, and 2, actually got me to kill a player where I had misdone my math and I would have been too short, and then Yavimaya got in there for a little bit. I would say this is not the highest of the high tier haste giving cards, because there obviously is the riot card that when you can put it in there, but everybody runs that card. I'm trying to aim for cards that maybe not everybody has thought about or played with these, right? Like everybody's heard of Rhythm of the Wild. That card, I will say, is strictly better than Fires of Yavimaya, but if you need redundancy, which a lot of decks do, right? Like I run Rhythm of the Wild, but I also run Fires of Yavimaya. I usually run Mass Hysteria as well in the deck. But just a fun niche card. And it's only a 3-drop, right? It's not too bad. Its secondary effect is exceedingly niche, but I have had it come in handy for me. In at number 3, we have Friendly Rivalry. We got Legolas and Gimli on there. It's an instant for 1 red and 1 green, and target creature you control and up to 1 other target legendary creature you control each deal damage equal to their power to target creature you don't control. So we all know that green is absolutely jam-packed and loaded with like fight spells and deal damage spells, but this is actually really interesting in that most of those are single target on single target, right? Like you have your Boborigmos deal direct damage to somebody's, I don't know, Flibblethip. And, you know, very straightforward. This lets you combine the powers of 1 creature and a legendary creature you have to gang up on an opponent. You know, very, very flavorful with it being Legolas and Gimli. But an exceedingly good card for the rate that it is, especially in Gruul or Jund or Naya. You're going to probably have some big Chungus creatures out there doing some big Chungus things. And then getting them to gang up to blow up somebody's thing, especially good if they are also running big Chungus creatures, right? This can help you break the wall. Because we all know that in Battlecruiser Magic, a lot of people just end up in a World War I type stalemate where I have big stuff, I have big stuff. And we all just kind of go from there. But very good fight spell, fun, or not fight spell, but direct damage spell, and has the added bonus of being able to really just overwhelm somebody's creature. I really like this card. I've actually put this on my Saccharine Scepter before. The only weakness to it is if your stuff gets wiped out. But if that happens, you got bigger problems than not being able to use Friendly Rivalry. Next, we have Bard class. This is a class enchantment for 2. Its first level is legendary creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on them. Then, legendary spells you cast cost a red and a green less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay. And then level 3 is whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. I really like this card. It's low to the ground. I very rarely tick up to level 3, but I do level 1 and level 2. The level 2 is really, really good for being able to get my stuff out there. It's especially good. I run this in my Wolverine deck. And Wolverine draws a lot of smoke from a lot of people. And so him dying a lot, having his colored pips reduced, just that extra 2 mana reduction is really good, and having him come in with an extra 1/1 counter is also really good. Allows your creatures to hit the ground running pretty much, and then allows you to cast more spells because depending on what kind of Gruul deck you're running, if you're running a tall deck, you're going to need some mana reduction so that way you can do it. And then the level 3, I would say, is almost more useful for the low to the ground Gruul decks because you don't want to be casting like a giant worm or a Boborigmos and then have like 0 mana left to be able to cast the spells off the top of your library. This was really good if you're running like the Bloodbraid Elves and low to the ground wide, maybe like Gruul Elves, things like that. But, you know, or Gruul Goblins. Let me know specifically about this one, what you think the utility is for it. And then last, but certainly not least, I love this card. I jam it in everything. I jam it in every single deck that it can be used in, and that is Goblin and Archomancer. He's a 2/2 for 2, and all he does is make your red or green spells cost 1 less. That's it. That's all he does. He's simple. He's straightforward. I actually prefer using a lot of cards like this over Mana Dorks specifically because like Mana Dorks can get shut off with things that stop activated abilities. So I am more keen on running like a Goblin or an Archomancer or a Emerald Medallion or a Ruby Medallion over like a Llanowar Elf or, you know, those sort of things. I find it really fun. I usually run this and Bard class in my decks. Anything that can really lower the spells because when I'm running Gruul, I like to be a Timmy. I don't run the low to the ground wide strategies. I run big, tall, big dumb creatures, right? Like in my Naya deck, my I'll deck, you know, I'm running Godsire and things like that in there. I ain't got no time to sit there and wait for like 8 mana to cast a spell, right? I need to cast it, and I need to cast it quickly to be able to catch up and keep on rate with the people who are in there. But, you know, oh yeah, just so many big things. Overall, very simple card. You know, it flies under the radar a lot. I know a lot of people put it in their decks, but it flies under the radar because it's not big and it's not splashy. And that's also a really good thing about it, is it's going to sit there on the battlefield, and people aren't really going to think about your Goblin and Archomancer when you're dropping like an 8/8 or a 10/10 on the board. They're going to focus on the giant threat and not the thing that's enabling you to play the giant threat. The only exception to that is my friend Aaron Dean is exceptionally good at recognizing the enabler pieces. And so, sorry, still suffering from a cold. The enabler pieces, and that right there, you know, is the key to dismantling your deck. So if you do see people running a lot of things like this, kill them. Unless you're playing against me, please don't kill it. I want to cast my Godsire, please. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you enjoy Gruul, what Gruul cards you run. As always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.